Hi everyone, I'm going to read a book about the artist Paul Klee. Paul Klee was born near Bern, Switzerland in 1879. He was an important artist and a very good musician, writer, and teacher. He used all of his talents to make a remarkable kind of modern art. Paul Klee loved color. Most of his paintings and other works of art are filled with beautiful and exciting colors. Sometimes you can recognize certain things in Paul Klee's paintings, such as people, animals, and houses. He also used numbers and letters of the alphabet as symbols that had a special meaning to him. Paul Klee's art is known as abstract art. The objects and figures in abstract art look different from the way they look in real life. Sometimes the objects in an abstract painting don't look like anything at all. Many of Paul Klee's greatest paintings are just colors and shapes. Paul Klee grew up in a very musical family. His mother was a singer and his father was a music teacher. They taught Paul to play the violin quite well when he was very young. Both music and art were important to Paul. It took him a long time to decide whether to become an artist or a musician. Finally, Paul decided to study art in the city of Munich, Germany. This was an important art center at the beginning of the 20th century. Artists there were trying new and exciting things. Paul met some of those artists, and soon he became friends with them. Kandinsky, Franz Marc, and August Mack painted in a new style that Paul could never see before. Paul liked the bright colors and the shapes these artists used, and the simple, almost childlike way that they painted people and objects. He realized that a painting didn't have to look like a photograph to be a good painting. Can you imagine that? These famous artists were trying to draw just like kids do, just like you. Paul worked very hard to learn all that he could about drawing with lines. He learned how to give things shape and how to make things seem solid. Finally, he learned about color. Paul also traveled as much as he could to see and learn from the works of the world's great artists. It was one of his trips that Paul Klee decided he would spend the rest of his life as an artist. While he was visiting Tanzania, Africa, Paul noticed how colorful things were in his beautiful and mysterious country. He thought the light there gave everything a fairy tale look. Paul Klee couldn't wait to start painting what he saw. The next day, Paul began painting watercolors. Paul showed the excitement he felt during his trip by changing the natural shapes and colors of things. Paul Klee changed the natural look of things in his painting for a reason. Up until Paul Klee's time, artists painted what they looked at, or things that they were familiar with. But Paul and his friends thought that a painting should be more than that. Paul wanted his paintings to show worlds that had never been seen before. So maybe these are worlds from his imagination, or he's trying to show exactly how he sees something. Paul thought it was important to give the person looking at one of his paintings, so you, a special feeling deep down inside, a feeling a person couldn't get from any ordinary painting. If you look closely at a Paul Klee painting for a while, you might get a feeling of energy or movement through space, or see a microscopic world you have never seen before. Go ahead and look at this picture for a few seconds. What do you think it makes you feel when you see it? Paul gave some of his paintings a musical feeling. Even though paintings don't have sound, Paul's paintings of color and shape make many people imagine the rhythm of music. Paul Klee always felt close to nature, and he carefully studied the things around him. When he was a teacher, Paul taught his students not to imitate a camera, which copies objects as they appear. He wanted his students to look below the surface of things, to find new and exciting worlds. Paul Klee's paintings often show his sense of humor. Sometimes he uses interesting tiles to make his paintings more fun. Near the end of his life, Paul Klee's colors became a little darker and the tiles of his work became more serious. But he still painted pictures filled with fantasy and magic.